What is up, guys? It is the Sleeping Gloom here, and today we are going to be wrapping up the Cube intro series with number 3. If you haven't checked out episodes 1 or 2, I highly recommend starting there because you're going to get the full experience of the Cube. You're going to see more reasonings as to some of the choices that I've selected with the Pokemon, the trainers, when it comes to the cards in this video. You really want to get the full story, and there's a lot of cool Pokemon cards. And so I just really want to say thank you so much to everybody who's been tuning in each and every video, and even if you're new to the channel, welcome and glad to have you. I hope you enjoy the content. Always leave a like, a comment, even consider pounding that subscribe button. I really appreciate the community that we are building here, and just the Pokemon community in general. It's a really great game to be a part of, whether you're just collecting, playing the game just for for fun, competitively, what have you. And so without wasting any further time, let's get into the cube. And away we go. All right. Well, let's just get the Pokemon out and put them off to the side. Get the trainers out. There we go. And we're just gonna dive right into where we left off. We've gone over a bunch of Pokemon, bunch of trainers, draw, search. Today we're just gonna wrap it all up. We do have 2 more Pokemon lines to go through. Well, 2 more types of Pokemon lines, and then we have a handful of trainers to go through, wrapping it up with some the recycle or the recovery cards, however you want to call them. Also the cards that allow you to do a specific effect, and they're going to be like some of the more useful ones apart from draw and search. Cards like switching out or gusting up something. So many important cards when it comes to non-draw and non-search cards. And we're going to start the video here with the water Pokemon, and what we've chosen to go with for our stage 2 line is Empoleon. And Empoleon has got to be one of my favorite starters. If you've watched many of the videos, you've probably come to find out water Pokemon are some of my favorite. Especially when it comes to the starters, I tend to lean towards those a bit more than the other options. Not every time, but I usually go with the water, and Empoleon was no exception. The Empoleon Level X card is truly one of the coolest Level X cards out there. It just really looks so great. I am a huge fan of this card. It's Pokebody Supreme Command. This is actually a misprint. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be a Poke Power because it's more of an active effect rather than a passive sort of effect on the card. But what it does is once during your turn, you get to take 2 random cards from your opponent's hand and you play them face down. And it basically is like making them not exist. They don't count as cards in play, they don't count as cards in their deck or in their hand. They're just kind of gone, and then once they finish their next turn, they get it back, which could be just tremendous when you're playing with other sort of hand disruption cards. And there's the Level X. We've then gone with Empoleon from Dark Explorers. Such a strong attacker, and its ability diving draw to discard a card and draw 2 cards is just huge. You want to be able to draw cards to get through that 40 card deck, and drawing 2 out of a 40 card, or even it's 29 cards when you consider the prizes and your starting hand. So it really helps you get set up and just way ahead of your opponent. And Attack Command is a strong attack. We then have Empoleon. This one's from Legendary Treasures. It's a pretty straightforward Empoleon card with Surf for 50 damage. And then with Emperor Strike, 70 plus 60 more if this Pokemon has less remaining HP. Could hurt your opponent's Pokemon quite badly. We've got Empoleon with the Total Command attack. It's similar to Attack Command, but it's just a little bit more damage, but you don't count the active Pokemon. So it's a little bit different, but it ends up being just a little bit more damage overall. I believe 120 or 200 is the difference there of the potential. We then have Whirlpool, 90, and discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Could be pretty big. In like a regular format, like standard, it's not that huge, but in this smaller, more sealed format, it is quite the beast. We then have Empoleon with Recall, because being able to attack for 1 energy, being able to use one of your Pokemon's previous evolution's attacks for just 1 energy. You don't use the energy cost from the other attacks. It's just 1, whether it be a 3 or a 4 or whatever have you attack. And there's 1 in particular, or really all the pre-evolutions for Empoleon have some pretty decent attacks. And Aqua Falls is a good one. We then have this Prinplup, just a nice holo, nothing too crazy, 80 HP, some low damage attacks. Dark Explorers, Majestic Dawn, this is probably my favorite one out of the Prinplup we have in here, just because it has some decent options when it comes to the attack. And then we have Prinplup. This one's actually a really great choice with the Recall attacker Empoleon, because Direct Dive, discard all energy from this Pokemon, and this attack does 100 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Well, instead of doing 3 energies, you only have to do 1. It's really big. And then we're gonna go into our Piplup line. We got this cool Toys R Us promo. I really like the holo on that one. We've got the Cosmic Eclipse trainer art here with Dawn with her Piplup. This one's so cool, probably my favorite Piplup card. Majestic Dawn, Piplup. Dark Explorers, that's reverse holo. And then we have a Legendary Treasures, another really cool one. And now, spoilers. We're gonna go into our stage 1 line. And we've chosen to go with Gyarados, because how could you not? In fact, I didn't start with Gyarados, honestly. I had Golduck to start, and I really liked Golduck, but it just kind of left Water wanting more power, and I feel like with Gyarados, we're able to promise a little bit more power here and do a little bit more just overall. I really like the ancient traits. Every time an ancient trait card comes up, I'm just going to tell you how much I really like it, because the traits are cool. This one, you can have 2 tools attached to it. Could get pretty cheesy depending on which tools you land. There's only 10 in the cube, so if you land this Gyarados, you're probably going to want to be seeking out those tools throughout the draft. We then have Gyarados from Team Up with Distilled Blast, which it's an interesting attack. Does 30 damage, you reveal the top 7 cards of your deck. This attack does 30 more damage times the amount of water energy you find there, and then you shuffle those energy cards back into your deck and you discard the other cards. Well, what you try to do here, since your deck is 40 cards, you get this Gyarados and you build a deck with a ton of water energy, and so basically every time you use Distilled Blast, you're gonna just knock anything out. It is a monster. We then have Gyarados GX, real big hitter here. His attacks, Draconic Disaster, Waterfall, I mean, they're a little bit expensive, but you're getting that 240 HP stage 1 Pokemon. That's really where I have justified this choice with a stage 1 GX. Strong attacks, could do potential 200. Dreadstorm GX is a strong GX attack, and it only takes 1 energy if you time that right. Like I said, it's always going to cost 1, but using it at the right time is what's important. And then we have the Burning Shadows Gyarados, which is very strong. 50 damage for each Magikarp in your discard pile. If you happen to draft the Ditto Prism Star and put this Gyarados, you could get 4 of your Magikarp in the discard pile if you are lucky when drafting. I mean, that's going to be tough to land all 4 Magikarps in the cube, but if you focus what you're drafting, you could get it. And then we just have our 4 Magikarps, which We'll showcase them a little bit. We have the Stormfront, such a cool magic card. We have the EX Dragon by my favorite artist. I might pronounce the name wrong, but I believe it's Kuki Saitu. Correct me in the comments if you know how to pronounce it, but I believe that's how you say their name. I just love their art. Not much more I can say. This card is awesome. Then we have the Fire Red and Leaf Green. This one's actually a misprint, I believe. It's showing it as it's an uncommon when normally it's a common in the set. And then we have a reverse hollow Magikarp. I believe this is Crimson Invasion. And it just has a nice submerge or bench barrier type of effect with the ability where you're safe if you're on the bench, from attacks at least. And then we're going to go into our basic Pokemon. I've chosen to go with Suicune from Darkness Ablaze. Just straightforward, a basic, water energy at 20 damage. It's not huge, but you could get it going quickly in Aurora Loop, 130 damage, and put those 2 energies back into your hand. Sometimes that really matters. You're about to get knocked out and you want to preserve those 2 energies, that Aurora Loop, get a knockout, and then maybe they respond and you're only trading 1 energy. Quite good. Or, no, never mind. I was thinking of a different thing, but that wouldn't come into play. And so we then have White Kyurem from Fates Collide. It's a pre-release. This was the last pre-release I attended before taking a break from the TCG for a few years. And I wasn't even playing much at that time, but a buddy of mine was, hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to come to a pre-release? I showed up, and I'm not upset. I really like this card. Burning Icicles, 40, and if it has a fire energy attached to it, you're going to do 20 more damage to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which I think this is such a great cube card because it allows you to play fire and water effectively if you get this. We then have Volcanion Prism Star, just a great utility with that ability Jet Geyser, and then Sauna Blast, doing 100 damage and 20 to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon is huge. But it is a Prism Star, so if there's anything that causes you to discard it, it's just gone for the rest of the game. And then the last card in the water, we have Lapras. I believe this is Legend Maker. I love this card. I like Lapras. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It is just such nice artwork. And its ability, Poke Power, what have you, it's great. Once you bench it, you search your deck for a supporter and put it in your hand. It's very similar to Jirachi EX or Tapu Lele GX when it has that supporter search ability. And I think it's really important to have 1 or 2 supporty type Pokemon in any given type lineup, as well as some good attackers. Whether the style, no matter what type of cube you're going for. I mean, if you're only going for Wizards of the Coast, maybe your options are a little bit more limited, so you may not be able to do that in every type. But if you do Unlimited, or maybe a Sun and Moon, Black and White, X and Y, you're going to have a decent amount of options when it comes to each type. But there you have it. That's going to be our water type. And then we are going to go into some trainers here. Let's check them out. Here we go. So now we're going to do some trainers, and these are going to be our utility, auxiliary, whatever the term you want to use for these types of cards, but they have very specific effects. And you're about to see why and what I mean by very specific effects. And so to start off, we have Scramble Switch. A-Spec cards are so awesome. One of the cooler things to come out of Black and White, that generation of cards. And Scramble Switch is really awesome. What you do is you switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon, and then you can move as many of those energies attached to your old active Pokemon to the new active Pokemon as you like. So whether it's 2 double colorless energies, a water and a fire, you can move them all, or whatever the energies are, you're free to move those around to that new one. We then have Xerosic, very nice utility supporter. You can discard a tool or a special energy card attached to a Pokemon in play, so you or your opponent's Pokemon, and sometimes you just don't want a tool on one of your Pokemon anymore, or maybe something is causing you not to be able to attack your opponent because you have a special energy on your Pokemon or something. There's a lot of effects that it could benefit to use it on yourself or your own Pokemon, but usually you're going to find yourself using it on your opponent's Pokemon. We then have B from Vivid Voltage, a new set, and this card just went straight into the cube. I really like its effects. So, you discard the top 5 cards of your deck, and you attach any energy cards you discard this way to your benched fighting Pokemon in any way you like. So, just free attach from the top of your deck to your fighting bench Pokemon, and it doesn't have to be fighting energy, and just depending on the type of deck you are playing, you may accelerate some energy to a fighting Pokemon and start using it for your other Pokemon. Not even really build a fighting deck, but that could just be your way of energy acceleration. We have Field Blower, such a strong card. You discard any combination of Pokemon Tool and Stadium cards, up to 2 of them. So you can discard 2 tools or Stadium in a tool. Very nice. Help you get ahead. Acerola, such an awesome supporter. Nice scoop up effect where you put one of your Pokemon that has any damage counters on it and all cards attached to it into your hand. Gonna help you survive. Keep some of those big HP Pokemon alive longer. We have AZ, very similar effect to Acerola, except they don't have to have damage counters on it, but you lose all the cards attached to it. So there's a little bit of a drawback, but sometimes there's no cards attached to it anyway. We then have Scoop Up Cyclone. Straight up, put one of your Pokemon and all cards attached to it into your hand. There's a reason why this is an A spec, but when you draft, something to keep in mind is you are free to use any card you draft. So if you happen to draft Scoop Up Cyclone, Scramble Switch, or this next one, Gold Potion, you're going to be able to play all of them. Some people may not think, that's fair or right or, to the rules, but, you're drafting, and so you've got a limited pool anyway. Every card's a one-of. It's not like you're going to have, most cards are one-ofs, and so you're not going to find multiple Gold Potions, which it's really good. Heal 90 damage from one of your active Pokemon. From your active Pokemon. But you get 3 A specs, play 3 A specs. Your cube builder may choose to play the rulings a little bit differently, but that's how I've chosen to rule it. We then have Malo and Lana, a nice switch effect and a heal effect, because I really like heal effects and switch effects, so Malo and Lana was just an instant favorite card of mine. Pokemon Center Lady, heal 60 and remove all special conditions. We got Seeker, one of my favorite cards, especially, you got that Mew hiding there in the background. And a nice reverse holo. Heart Gold, Soul Silver, some of my favorite sets out there. But this is a game-winning card. Sometimes your opponent only has one benched Pokemon, and you use Seeker and they have to pick it up, and then you knock out their active. Such a nasty combo, and it can just win you the game just right there, even turn 1 or 2, just depending on how it goes. We then have Getsy's, a nice disruption card. I believe this one actually even got banned from Expanded, maybe. I don't believe you can play it anymore. I think it actually got banned from Standard even, but I might be mixing the two. It's definitely banned in Expanded because it's not Standard anymore. But such a cool card. You look at your opponent's hand and they have to shuffle all the item cards you find there, and then you draw cards equal to the amount of items that you shuffled back. I was a huge fan when this card came out, and I just really like rare supporters, the ones that are holographic. They're really cool to me. And like Leon, really nice addition to the cube from Vivid Voltage. Just during this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon, so it's just a nice plus power times 3. But it's a supporter, so you have that drawback of only 1 per turn, but it's a nice bit of damage. We then have a Lysander, a gust effect, but as a supporter. We are actually playing multiple copies of Lysander. We then have Guzma. It's like Lysander, but then you switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched. such an amazing card. This is one of the coolest cards that I feel like I missed out on in a standard format. And we're playing 2 copies. I'm actually gonna sort these just a little bit different. There we go. And then Gust of Wind. Just a one-off because it's like Lysander, but it's a trainer, so you could, in theory, play as many of them as you want per turn, but then you can also play a draw supporter. So Lysander is just a little bit worse. That's why I've chosen to balance it out that way. Escape Rope, one of my favorite cards here. And we choose to run 4 copies of it. It's like Warp Point, but both players switch their active Pokemon with one of their bench. Your opponent goes first. We then have 4 copies of Switch, because it's pretty essential to keep the active Pokemon that you want. And then we're playing 8 copies of Rare Candy. And I've chosen to go with such a heavy line because I want to promote the Stage 2 Pokemon. I want my players, I want myself, anybody playing the cube, I want them to try to go with their Stage 2 Pokemon as frequently as possible, because they're just a little bit more work, but usually they have just better effects or cooler effects. And I started with 4, and what happened is one player got all 4 of them. I mean, sure, that's the way the draft goes, but some people didn't even see a single Rare Candy, which, again, it's a part of drafting, but I really want everybody to have at least a shot to hopefully land 1. It's super common card, the most common card in the cube. And there you have it. Those are the auxiliary, utility, you name it, those type of cards, the ones that are going to really help you win the game apart from drawing and searching out. We're going to go into the next line of trainers, and then we'll wrap it up here with the final line of Pokemon. All right, and the last line of trainers we have here are our recovery, our recycle style trainers and supporters. And to start it here, we've got VS Seeker. Pretty straightforward card. You put a supporter card from your discard pile back into your hand. And it's really great in a cube environment because sometimes you only find one of that supporter that you really like for your deck. So hopefully you get a VS Seeker so you can play it more than once. We then have Junk Arm, and I have chosen to go with 4 copies of Junk Arm. Such a strong card. You discard 2 cards from your hand to get a trainer card from your discard pile back into your hand. And just so great. There's so many possibilities of what you could possibly be recycling back. Maybe it's that Gust of Wind. Maybe it's that Gold Potion. It's up for you to decide, based on what you draft and what you get. Such a really, really good recycle card is Brock's Grit. It's a supporter, as even though it looks like a major trainer, but there's that fine print there that you don't want to miss. But you shuffle 6 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile back into your deck. It is so great because you're playing with a limited pool of these cards. All the Pokemon, they're all one-ofs. So if your strategy is to attack with a specific Pokemon, maybe the Blaziken GX, you just want to go Blaziken GX all game, that's going to help you do it. And I've chosen to go with 2 copies there. So more of an uncommon, more rare card, but it's really good. There's a reason why. We then have Lana's Fishing Rod. Shuffle a Pokemon and a tool card from your discard pile back into your deck. Get one of those like Rock Guards or Life Dews back in, recycle that. We then have Ordinary Rod, nice recycle. Super Rod, those are the rods we've chosen to go with. We then have Pokemon Rescue from Platinum, I believe. You just search your discard pile for a Pokemon, show it to your opponent, and put it in your hand. Just simple as that. It's quite a good one. Quite the controversial card, Lysander's Trump card. I just love this card so much. I was really sad when it got banned. I had a handful of the full arts. It makes sense why it got banned, because every game that it was in went to time, because it was usually helping some sort of stall deck continue to stall you out, while they could just slowly beat you away and win. It's a really, really good card. What it does is each player shuffles all cards in his or her discard pile back into their deck, except for Lysander's trump card. So you play this card, you shuffle everything back, and then maybe next turn you VS Seeker it back. I've drafted, there's a reason why it's so good, it's a one of, because I've had decks that just literally run like an engine. You run through your whole deck, you use Lysander's trump card, you get all those cards back into your deck, and then you just run through your deck again, and you just get the exact card you need for every single turn if you get set up. And so this is a card that people scoop up right away because one, they don't want me to build a deck like that, and two, they want to try to do that too. And the last one is Fisherman from Heart Gold Soul Silver base set. Love the artwork here. You got that Magikarp and the Wooper. Oh, I just almost forgot his name. And he's just, chilling with his little fishing buddies. We'll put him up here with the rods. And there you have it. Those are the recycle. Crucial to any cube because your decks are so much smaller than a 60 card deck. Sometimes a deck out is very common with a deck that somebody builds, and so having these cards to keep these cards in motion, keep recycling them, using over and over again, you're gonna not deck out or have a less chance to. And so let's check out the final line of Pokemon. And here we go, the last line of Pokemon. If you guys have been watching this series of the Cube, really, thanks again, and I hope you've enjoyed it. But if you are such a huge fan of these videos, or you really like them, whether or not, don't worry, because I plan on doing more Cube style videos in the future, list updates. Potentially going to get a Google Doc going so you can easily see my cube list without having to go through all the video each time. You'll just be able to check it out there, and whether you want to copy it, choose some of the cards that I've gone with, maybe build around it, make some changes, do what you want. That's the whole point of the cube, is the freedom to build a format that you want to play with you and your play group. And they're always changing. You always spend a lot of time on it. I've spent a ton of time just tweaking this cube. This is obviously the most recent build, but it didn't look like this before. There are plenty of Pokemon lines that have changed. For example, like I talked earlier, Gyarados used to be Golduck. Just plenty of things like that. And so let's not waste any more time and check out the final line with Dark Pokemon. And so in the first video, the electric line is a smaller amount of Pokemon. All the other ones, they have the exact same number, except for Dark and Electric, because a lot of Pokemon are weak to Electric. And then there are a handful of weak to Dark Pokemon, especially in the Psychic lines. And they're just a little bit more inconsistent when you try to fit so many different types. My cube has been narrowed down to 360 cards. It started out at 540. And so, yeah, just so many changes you can make. But let's check out the Dark line with Honchkrow as our Stage 1 line. We actually opt out of even doing a Stage 2 line. The original build had Hydreigon, but we just slimmed this down. What I really love about this one is Unfair GX. The name of the attack, I love it, and just the effect. Your opponent reveals their hand and discards 2 cards from it. One of my friends who doesn't play that often, he was more of a collector back in the day, and just shortly after high school, a lot of us were really into the game, just playing tabletop rule or kitchen table format where just any card went, it didn't matter. Obviously 4-ofs, but we were playing base set cards, black and white cards, what have you. And when he had unfair GX done to him, he was just appalled. He was just like, wait, you get to choose? You get to discard these cards? Okay. And ever since then, just unfair GX has just been this Honchkrow GX has just been something people have always wanted to go for. It's really strong, it's got great attacks, and it's a fun card. I really like Honchkrow. We then have Honchkrow from Unified Minds with its sharpshooting attack, nice snipe effect, and Dark Cutter, just a straight up 60 for 1 energy, quite good. We then have the Honchkrow from Guardians Rising. This one is a big hitter, feint attack, similar to sharpshooting, but it's a dark. But Raven's Claws, where this one really comes in handy. For 2 colorless, it does 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon. So if they're playing some big HP Pokemon and you've been, sniping them down while you have something stuck active, then you can start going in for some big, huge Ravenclaws, or you play a spread deck and then you come in with the Ravenclaw. There's so many ways you can really use that attack. It is strong. And then we have Honchkrow from, it's not Majestic Dawn. I cannot think of the name of this set for some reason. It's a Diamond and Pearl set, but its Dark Genes Pokebody ability is quite good. And the way that me and my group have decided to run certain worded cards in this cube, with this one specifically, it says, as long as Honchkrow has the energy necessary to use its attack, each of your Murkrow can use Honchkrow's attack as its own without using energy to use that attack. And so it says Honchkrow and not this Pokemon. And so what I realize is, the way wording has been in the past has been a little bit differently, but to make fun mechanics or, things a little bit different, is if this Honchkrow has the ability to, let's say you have Honchkrow down and this Honchkrow down. And this one has Raven's Claw ready to go, but this one's just kind of hanging out on your bench. Your active Murkrow is going to be able to use Raven's Claw for no energy. Because it's the way it's worded, Honchkrow, as long as Honchkrow has the energy. Tell me what you feel about that, or tell me how you feel about that in the comments, because I understand that's not really how it would work in a regular Pokemon game, but my cube, my rules, and I think it makes for more fun, more interesting games. Honchkrow. This Murkrow is so cool. And again, favorite artist. And the reverse holo from Unseen Forces. I'm a huge fan. And it's a rare. Because before Honchkrow came out, Murkrow was the one. And you usually got the rare. I really, really like Murkrow overall. One of my favorite dark Pokemon. Murkrow with Mean Look, 10 damage, and the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. Murkrow with Astonish, 10, and you flip a coin of heads, you shuffle a random card from your opponent's hand back in their deck. And then we have Murkrow with Swarm, free attack. Love free attacks. You search your deck for Murkrow and put it onto your bench and shuffle your deck afterward. So, just get those Honchkrows going. Nice call for family or Swarm. Then we go to our basics. Spiritomb. Such a broken cool card. Pokebody Keystone Seal. If it's active, each player can't use trainer cards from their hand. And then Darkness Gray. This is really where this one shines. For free, you search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play, and then you put it onto that Pokemon. But you put 1 damage count on Spiritomb. But usually, since you and your opponent can't play trainers, it's gonna be stuck active. Sometimes that's enough to slow them down, and you just evolve and evolve and evolve, and then once you're ready, it either knocks itself out or gets knocked out, somehow gets out of the active, and you're just all set up. And then we have Sableye from Dark Explorers. Big thing here is Junk Hunt. Being able to get 2 item cards from your discard pile and put them back into your hand. Very, very good. And then the last dark, and I guess the last Pokemon of the cube, is Darkrai from Darkness Ablaze. If this Pokemon has any dark energy attached to it, it takes 20 less damage, nice and tanky. And then 60 plus 20 more for each dark energy attached to this Pokemon. That could be just a cannon, just absolutely destroys somebody. If you get going, you just get accelerated to him quickly enough, you're gonna get ahead and tank a few hits before it goes down, or maybe even just is the one to win the game for you. But there we go. That is my Pokemon Cube. I really hope you've enjoyed the series here, but don't go too soon. The video's not over, because I like to wrap up every cube video with opening some packs. So let's check out those packs. All right, guys, thank you so much for sticking around, or even skipping ahead to the pack opening if that's really what you're here for. But hey, anyway, thanks. It means a bunch. And we're going to test our luck today with some Ultra Prism packs, a set that I haven't really opened up too much of. It came out while I wasn't playing, I wasn't collecting, and so I kind of missed out on it, and kind of bummed I did. I shouldn't have stopped. The Sun and Moon sets, they were really cool. I feel like I missed out a lot on a fun competitive format, and a lot of really cool cards. What we're looking for in these packs is a full art Lily. That's the #1 pull. But any form of Leafeon GX would be great. Preferably the Rainbow Hyper Rare. Well, let's get into them. We're gonna start with the Giratina pack. Starting it off with a Metal Energy, Cosmoem, Cynthia, very nice, Skuntank, Lickitung, Sneasel, Chimchar, Magmar, Morlul, Reverse Riolu, very nice, and a Drapion. Sweet. A lot of new ones there for me, so I'll take it. Next pack, Duskmane Necrozma, I believe is what they call it. That'd be a cool one to pull. I think it's just a regular rare. It might come with a GX. Something I should know, but I guess I forgot. But that's all right. And that Fighting Energy, Palpad, Drifblim, hey, you're in the cube, Oranguru, Salandit, Passimian, Shinx, Execute, Magnemite, sweet, that Reverse Glameow, and a Drampa Hollow, cool. Such an interesting Pokemon. Is it Drampa because it's like a grandpa dragon? I'm not sure. I mean, it looks like it could be a grandpa with that white hair and the beard. Looks pretty cool though. Fairy Energy, Spiritomb, Magneton, and non-full art Lily, Bronzor, Yanma, Shinx, Diglett, Vulpix. Ooh, I like the artwork on that one. Reverse Rotom and Fan Rotom. Nice. Neat. Rotom's a weird Pokemon. Just like a virus or something. What is he? Plasma Pokemon, what do they call them? Alright, last pack. White code, good sign. Are we gonna hit that last pack magic? Fairy Energy, Monferno, that's cool art. Unidentified fossil. Ooh, a Honchkrow. I think we'll keep the ones we have. Sneasel, Carnivine, Baniri, Passimian, Some more Chimchar action. Ooh, sweet reverse Piplup, and ooh, hey, the Duskmane Necrozma. Hey, it does come as a GX. It's pretty neat. I do like that. And it's a basic. Very nice artwork on that one. Sweet. All right, and there you have it. That is the ending of the intro to the Cube series. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Let me know what your favorite Pokemon line in the Cube was, whether it be just from this video in specific or overall. What choices would you have done differently? What have you done differently? Let me know about your Cube. I'd love to talk Cube strategy, Cube building. It's one of my favorite things with the Pokémon TCG. I voiced it many times. It's my favorite way to play the game, apart from that tournament environment. That nice, the competitions in the air. That's the best way to play the game. But this is the runner-up. And so really I just want to say thanks again, guys. It means a ton. Consider leaving the like, leaving any comments, pound that subscribe button, and as always, stay sleepy.